welcome to the Murder House Radio Show. I'm your host, X. On this show, we will be covering serial killers, mass shooters, disappearances, true crime, and the most deplorable things and people in history, and all that good dark stuff. The Murder House Radio Show will be a radio show / podcast. I'll be uploading videos every Friday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Once you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification and select all to get all notifications if you are viewing on YouTube. And hit follow if you are listening on a podcasting platform. So sit down, get comfortable, grab some coffee or whatever your preferred beverage is, turn off the lights, and enjoy the show. Hey guys, how was your Friday? I hope your day was all good, and now that you can sit back and relax and listen to this, I hope that's good as well for you. But yeah, just checking in on you guys, I guess. But let's get into this episode. This Friday's episode is going to be on the Zodiac Killer, or simply Zodiac. It is the synonym for an American serial killer who was never caught. He operated in Northern California from at least the late 1960s to the early 70s, so that's a long reign right there. But the killer's name originated in a series of taunting letters and cards sent to the San Francisco Bay Area press. These letters included 4 cryptograms or ciphers, which are coded letters. The Zodiac murdered 5 known victims in Benica, Vallejo, and Napa County. Forgive me if I pronounce those wrong. I know I probably did. And San Francisco. Respectively between December 1968 and October 1969. He targeted young couples, with 2 of the men surviving attempted murder. So yeah, 2 victims survived. He also murdered a male cab driver. The Zodiac himself once claimed to have murdered 37 victims and has been linked to several other cold cases. Ooh, damn. The SFPD, the San Francisco Police Department, marked the case inactive as of April 2004, but it was reopened at some point prior to March 2007. Interesting. The case also remains open in the city of Vallejo, Vallejo, as well as Napa County and Solano County. The California Department of Justice has maintained an open case file on the Zodiac murders since 1969. Yeah, I wonder how he's able to get away with it for so long or whatever. But that's a little recap of who the Zodiac is, like a little profile on him, since they don't know who he actually is. But before we get too far into this, all the sources and all that good stuff are down in the description below, so go check those out. But yeah, his confirmed murders are David Arthur Faraday, 17 years old, and Betty Lou Jensen, 16, shot and killed on December 20th, 1968 on Lake Herman Road within the city limits of Benicia. Benica. Michael Renault Magoo, 19, and Darlene Elizabeth Furian, 22, shot on July 4th, 1969. 69 in the parking lot of Blue Rock Spring Park in Vallejo. While the dude survived, he survived the attack, and Fran was pronounced dead. His girlfriend was pronounced dead on arrival to the hospital. Brian Kelvin Hartnell, 20 years old, in Calcelia? Fuck me. Cecelia, Anna Shepard, 22 years old, stabbed to death on September 27th, 1969 at Lake Berryessa in Napa County. The dude survived 8 stab wounds to the back, but Shepard died as a result of her injuries on September 29th, so 2 days later. And then Paul Lee Stein, 29. Bless me. Paul Lee Stein, 29, shot and killed October 11th, 1969 in the Presidio fuck me, man. Presidio Heights neighborhood in San Francisco. So I think that was a cab driver, but my guy here has 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, about 7-ish victims here. But yeah, those are his confirmed victims. So the first murders I mentioned were the most attributed to the Zodiac Killer. Those two were high school students, the Betty Lou Jensen and David Arthur Faraday. But yeah, on Lake Herman Road, just inside the city limits. The couple were on their first date and planned to attend a Christmas concert at Hogan High School, about 3 blocks from the Jensen's home. The couple instead visited a friend before stopping at a local restaurant and then driving out on Lake Herman Road at about 10:15 p.m. Faraday, that's how you say that, parked his mother's Rambler in the gravel turnout, which was a well-known lover's lane. Excuse me for my stumbling, ladies and gentlemen. Shortly after 11 p.m., their bodies were found by Stella Borgs, who lived nearby. The Salino County Sheriff's Department investigated the crimes, but no leads were developed. Utilizing available forensic DNA, Robert Gray Smith postulated that another car pulled into the turnout just prior to 11 p.m. and parked beside the couple. The killer apparently exited the second car and walked towards Rambler, possibly ordering the couple out of the Rambler. So out of their car, Janess appeared to have exited the car first, yet when Faraday was half out, the killer apparently shot him in the head. The killer then shot Jensen 5 times in the back as she fled. Her body was found 28 feet from the car. The killer then drove off. So maybe he pretended to be a police officer or something like that, a park ranger maybe, if that's the right setting. So some sort of authority figure, which is pretty common with serial killers, I might add. But and then here's the Blue Rock Spring murders. Murder. Just before midnight on July 4th, 1969, Darlene Fryn and Michael Mangue drove into the Blue Rock Spring Park in Vallejo, 4 miles from Lake Herman Road, from that murder site, and they parked. The couple sat in the car. A second car drove into the lot and parked alongside them and almost immediately drove away, returning about 10 minutes later. The second car parked behind them. The driver of the second car exited the car, approached the passenger side door, carrying a flashlight and a 9mm Luger. That's that German gun. It's a nice gun. The killer directed the flashlight into Magu's and friends' eyes before shooting them. Yeah, those, if it's a police flashlight, those things are blinding. He fired 5 times. Both victims were hit, and several bullets had passed through Magu and into Fryn. The killer walked away from the car, but upon hearing one of them moan, returned and shot each victim twice more before leaving. Oof. On July 5th, 1969, at about 12:40 a.m., a man phoned the police department and reported claims of reported the attack and claimed that he was responsible for the attack. The caller also took credit for the murder of Jensen and Faraday 6.5 months earlier. Oh, that's a decent little time gap right there. Police traced the call to a phone booth at a gas station at Springs Road and Tullamoon. Yeah, whatever. Located about 0.3 of a mile from the Frennan's home and only a few blocks from the police department. Fernand was pronounced dead at the hospital. Mangu survived the attack despite being shot in the face, neck, and chest. Oof, lucky. Mangu. By the way, his name is spelled Mageeau. Described his attacker as a 26 to 30-year-old, 195 to 200 pound man, or possibly more, and about 5 foot 8 inches tall, white male with short, light brown, curly hair. Interesting. Very interesting. So, that's the breakdown of the first 2 murders. But, the first letter from the killer was received on August 1st, 1969. 3 letters prepared by the killer were received at the Vallejo Times Herald in San Francisco Chronicle and the San Francisco Examiner. The nearly identical letters, so they're pretty much a carbon copy, subsequently described by psychiatrists to have been written by someone who would expect to be boring, borrowing, and isolated. Okay. Took credit for the shootings at the Lake Herman Road and Blue Rock Springs. Each letter also included 1/3 of a 408 symbol cryptogram, which the killer claimed contained his identity. The killer demanded that they printed each letter on the front page of the newspaper, or he would curse around all weekend, killing lone people in the night, then move on to kill again until I end up with dozens of people over the weekend. So he threatened to kill even more people if they didn't put his letter in the newspaper. That's pretty wild. What do you guys think about that? But yeah, they claim to have deciphered some of the letters or whatever, allegedly. The Chronicle published its 1/3 of the cryptogram on page 4 on the next day's paper edition. Oh, so he sent like parts of the letter to different places. Word. An article printed alongside the code quoted the police chief, Jack E. Stilts, as saying, "We are not satisfied that the letter was written by the murderer, and requested the writer to send a second letter with more facts to prove his identity." Okay. The threatened murders did not happen, and all 3 parts were eventually published. Interesting. On August 7th, 1969, another letter was received at the San Francisco Examiner. With the salutation, dear editor, this is the Zodiac speaking. Oof. This was the first time the killer had used this name for identification. The letter was a response to the chief of police's request for more details that would prove he had killed Faraday, Jensen, and Farin. In it, the Zodiac indicated details about the murders which had not yet been released to the public, as well as a message to the police that when they cracked his code, they will have me. Interesting. This guy's cocky. On August 8th, a day later, Donald and Betty Hearn of Salinas, California, cracked the 408 symbol cryptogram. It contained a misspelled message in which the killer seemed to reference the most dangerous game. Oof. The author also said he was collecting slaves for the afterlife. Ooh. No name appeared in the decoded text, and the killer said that he would not give away his identity because it would slow down or stop his slave collection. Interesting. It's a crazy mind right there. A crazy mind. I think he's not the only killer that had this idea of collecting slaves and souls for the afterlife or whatever. Let me know. I'm not too sure, though. Drop it down in the comments if you know another killer who is like this. And then the Lake Berryessa murders happened. This was on September 27th, 1969. Pacific Union College student Brenda Hertnell and Sendocola Shepherd were picnicking at the lake on a small island connected by a sand spit to Two Oak Ridge. A white man about 5'11", weighing about 170 pounds, with greasy brown hair, approached them wearing a black executioner-type hood with a clip-on sunglasses over the eye holes and bib-like device on his chest that had a white 3x3 inch cross circle symbol. Oh, okay. He approached them with a gun, and which was believed to be a .45. The hooded man claimed to be an escaped convict from jail with a 2-word name in the Colorado or Montana. In either Colorado or Montana, okay, where he had killed a guard and subsequently stolen a car, explaining that he now needed their car and money to go to Mexico, as the vehicle he had been driving was too hot. Nice. He had with him a plastic clothesline and told Shepherd to tie up Hartnell before he tied her up. The killer checked and tightened Hartnell's bonds. After discovering Shepherd was bound the hands loosely. Alright. Hartnell intentionally believed this even to be a bizarre robbery, but the man drew a knife and stabbed them both repeatedly. Hartnell suffered 6 and Shepherd 10 wounds in the stabbing. The killer then hiked 500 yards back up to Knoxville Road, drew the cross-circle symbol on Hartnell's car door, okay, with a black felt-tip pen, and wrote beneath it, Vallejo 12 20 68 and 7-4 69, September 27th, 69, 6:30 by knife. Oof, okay, so he's documenting the murders on the curb. But at 7:40 p.m. the killer called the Napa County Sheriff's Office from a payphone to report his latest crime. The caller first stated to the operator that he wished to report a murder. No, a double murder, nice. Before stating that he had been the perpetrator of the crime. The phone was found still off the hook minutes later at the Napa car wash on Main Street in Napa. Word. Only a few blocks from the sheriff's office. Well, god damn. Yet 27 miles from the crime scene. Okay. And that's 43 kilometers for those of you who don't know what miles are. So, yeah. Detectives were able to lift a still wet palm print from the telephone, but were never able to match it to any suspects. Oof. You gotta run those once a year just to be safe. That's what I would do. So the two victims were found by a man and his son who were fishing nearby because they were screaming or whatever. And the park rangers and the Napa County Sheriff deputies, David Collins and Ray Land, were the first law enforcement officers to arrive at the crime scene. Shepard was conscious when Collins arrived, providing him with a detailed description of the attacker. Hartnell and Shepard were taken to Queen of the Valley Hospital in Napa by ambulance. Shepard lapsed into a coma during the transportation to the hospital and never regained consciousness. Oof. She died 2 days later, but Hartnell survived to recount his tale to the press. Napa County Sheriff Detective Ken Narlow who was assigned to the case from the outset, from the start. He worked on solving the crime until his retirement from the department in 1987. Yes, imagine having a case, working on it your whole career, and never being able to solve it. That would mess with your head big time. It probably still haunts the guy. So 2 weeks after this, the Presidio Heights murders happened. On October 11th, 1969, a white male passenger entered the cab, driven by Paul Stein, at the intersection of Manson and Gray Street in San Francisco, requesting to be taken to Washington and Maple Street in Presidio Heights. For reasons unknown, Stein drove 1 block past Maple to Cherry Street. The passenger then shot Stein once in the head with a 9mm, took Stein's wallet and keys, and tore away a section of Stein's bloodstained shirt tail. The passenger was observed by 3 teenagers across the street at 9:55 p.m. who called the police while the crime was in progress. They observed a man wiping the cab down before walking away towards Presidio. 1 block to the north, 2 blocks from the crime scene, patrol officer Don Folk and Eric Zelms responded to the call, observed a white man walking along the sidewalk east on Jackson Street, and stepped onto the stairway leading to the front yard of one of the homes on the north side of the street. Encounter later only 5 or 10 seconds. Yo, they should have questioned the fuck out of that dude, bro. Like, they have a little description or whatever, a white dude, blah, 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 blah. Fucking question him. You can do that, you know, but this was back in the day when they were all racist as fuck down there. But, yeah. You could have caught him right there. Fuck, you even probably found out where he lived, too. Would it be probable cause to search anyone who, remotely matches the description or whatever? Like, just search them and question them. You don't have to arrest them or whatever, I don't think. But, you know, I'm not a cop or a lawyer or anything, so I wouldn't know. But, it makes sense to, you know? The main argument is, like, you did nothing wrong, so why would they be searching me? But also the counter argument is, so if you did nothing wrong, why can't I search you or whatever kind of deal? But, yeah, that's not what this is about, so, let's continue. However, Folk estimated the white male pedestrian to be about 35 to 45 years old, 5'10", with a crew cut similar to but slightly older than the description of the teenagers who observed the killer in and out of Steen's cab. As the teenagers described him as 25 to 30 years old, crew cut white male, about 5'8" to about 5'9". They still should have searched him, man. The police radio dispatcher had, however, initially alerted police officers to be on the lookout for a black suspect. Oof. So Folk and Zelms drove past him without stopping. The mix-up in descriptions remained unexplained. Oof, goddamn. A search ensued, but no suspects were found. This was the last official confirmed murder by the Zodiac Killer. But yeah, that's they didn't really dogfuck that because they got the wrong description, but still. The Stein murder was initially believed to be a routine robbery that had escalated into a homicidal violence. However, on October 13th, the San Francisco Chronicle received a new letter from the Zodiac which claimed credit for the killing and which contained a torn section of Stein's bloody shirt to prove this fact. God damn. 3 teen witnesses worked with police artists to prepare a composite sketch of Stein's killer, which is the picture I used in the beginning of the video. A few days later, the police artists returned, working with the witnesses to prepare a second composite sketch of the killer. Detective Bill Armstrong and Dave Toshkichi were assigned to the case. The San Francisco Police Department investigated an estimated 2,500 suspects over the period of years. Well, damn. Interesting stuff, ladies and gents. So those were the last known murders of the Zodiac, like the confirmed that was him, but he continued sending letters. So October 14th, 1969, the Chronicle received another letter from the Zodiac, this time containing a swatch of Paul Stein's shirt tail to prove he was a killer. Well, I just said that. It also included a threat about killing school children on a school bus. To do this, the Zodiac wrote, "Just shoot out the front tire, then pick off the kids as they come bouncing out." Oof. At 2 p.m. on October 20th, 1969, someone claimed to be the Zodiac called the Oakland Police Department, demanding that one of 2 prominent lawyers, F. Lee Bailey or Melvin Belly, appear on AM San Francisco, a talk show on KGO TV hosted by Jim Dunbar. Oh, that name sounds familiar. Dunbar. I've heard that somewhere on a true crime thing. But anyway, Bailey was not available, but Belly did appear on the show. Dunbar appealed to viewers to keep the lines open. Eventually, someone claiming to be the Zodiac called several times, okay? Belly asked for a less ominous name. The caller picked Sam. Belly arranged a rendezvous to meet this individual in person outside a shop on Mission Street in Delay City, but no one arrived. Oof, he's probably watching and saw cops, because, that's what I do. But, on November 8th, 1969, the Zodiac mailed a card with another cryptogram consisting of 340 characters. This cipher duped Z3... it was named Z340. This remains unsolved for over 51 years. On December 5th, 2020, it was deciphered by an international team of private citizens, including American software engineer David Oranchak, Oranchak, Australian mathematician Sam Blake, and Belgian programmer Charles van Eyck. In the deciphered message, the Zodiac refused to being the Sam who spoke on the AM San Francisco, explained that he was not afraid of the gas chamber because it would send me to paradise all the sooner. Yes, where all his slaves would be, according to him. The team submitted their findings to the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI, which verified the discovery. The FBI stated that the decoded message gave no further clues to the identity of the Zodiac. Imagine that. You get a little bit of a break and then it's like, fucking nah, bro. But on November 9th, 1969, the Zodiac mailed a 7-page letter stating that 2 policemen stopped and actually spoke with him 3 minutes after he shot Stein. Excerpts from the letter were published to the Chronicle on November 12th, including the Zodiac's claim. The same day, Officer Don Folk wrote a memo explaining what had happened the night of Stein's murder. On December 20th, 1969, exactly 1 year after the murders of David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, the Zodiac mailed a letter to Berlin that indicated another swatch of Stein's shirt. The Zodiac said he wanted Berlin to help him. Oof. But yeah, that's pretty fucking wild. Imagine he actually was stopped and talked to by the cops. That would be wild. So here's another possible Zodiac attack. The Kathleen Jean. So she was driving or whatever, a car honked and flagged her down. She stopped. The man approached the car and stated that he had observed her right rear wheel was wobbly. He offered to tighten it, and he did so or whatever, allegedly, and then drove off. And when she pulled off or whatever, the wheel fell off or whatever. The man returned, which was part of his plan, obviously, offering to drive her to the nearest service station, and he did. She accepted or whatever. They drove around for about 90 minutes back and forth near Tracy, wherever that is. She asked why they weren't stopping because they passed several service stations, and he would change the subject or whatever. He finally stopped, and she jumped out of the car with her daughter, and they hid in a field. The driver searched for her using his flashlight, telling her that he would not hurt her, before eventually giving up. Unable to find her, he got back into the car and drove off. So that's a close call. I don't know if it sounds like his MO, but you know, he was disappointed that she had a kid with him as well. I saw this in a Zodiac movie. Johns hitchhiked a ride to the police station in Patterson. When Johns gave her statement to the sergeant on duty, she noticed the police composite sketch of Paul Stein's killer and recognized him as the man who had abducted her and her child. So it was! Holy fucking shit! Fearing he might come back and kill them all, the sergeant had John wait in the dark at a nearby mill restaurant. When the car was found, it had been gutted and torched. Ooh, they were definitely gonna murder. That was a stolen car. He was definitely planning to fucking kill her. Most accounts say he threatened to kill her and her daughter while driving them around, but at least one police report disputes that. John's account to Paul Avery of the Chronicle indicated her abductor left his car and searched for her in the dark with a flashlight. However, in one report she made to the police, she stated he did not leave the vehicle. Okay, but the bottom line is, it was a Zodiac. He tried to kill her and the daughter, but couldn't because she was hiding. Word. But yes, I think that is the last known attempted victim of the Zodiac Killer. What do you guys think? What do you think about that whole situation right there? Let me know in the comments. So the Zodiac continued to communicate with the police and press for the remainder of 1970. He even wrote a letter on April 20th and he wrote, "My name is blank," followed by a 13-character cipher. The Zodiac went on to state that he was not responsible for the recent bombing of a police station in San Francisco, referring to the February 18th, 1970 death of Sergeant Brian McDonnell 2 days after the bombing at a Park Station. Okay. But added, there is more glory in killing a cop than a Sid, because a cop can shoot back. The letter indicated a diagram of a bomb the Zodiac claimed he would use to blow up a school bus. At the bottom of the diagram, he wrote, the circle with the cross thingy in it equals 10. SFPD equals 0. So 10. Zodiac 10, police 0. You cocky bastard. Holy. What a fucking savage, this guy. The Zodiac sent a greeting card postmarked April 28th, 1970 to the Chronicle, writing on the card, "I hope you enjoyed yourselves when I have my blast," followed by the Zodiac's cross circle signature. On the back of the card, the Zodiac threatened to use the bus bomb soon unless the newspaper published the full details. He wrote, okay. He also wanted to start seeing people wearing some Zodiac. He was plugging his merch, bro. He was plugging his fucking merch. He's like, if you don't wear this, I'm blowing up the school bus, bro. You fucking wear my merch, you cunts. That's basically what he said. Holy fuck. In a letter postmarked June 26, 1970, the Zodiac stated he was upset that he did not see people wearing Zodiac buttons. He wrote, "I shot a man sitting in a parked car with a .38. The Zodiac was possibly referring to the murder of 25-year-old Sergeant Richard Radchich 1 week earlier at 5:25 a.m. on June 19th. Radchich was writing a parking ticket in his squad car when an assailant unrelated to the traffic violation shot him in the head with a .38 caliber pistol. Though the closed driver's side window died 15 hours later, the San Francisco Police Department denies the Zodiac was involved. The murder remains unsolved. I think they denied that murder because they're like, we don't want people thinking he's killing police or whatever. I think it was him, bro. I think it might be him. He threatened to blow up a fucking school bus full of kids. I think it's him, bro. Pretty sure it's him. So included with the letter was a Phillips 66 road map of the San Francisco Bay Area. On the image of Mount Diablo, nice. The Zodiac had drawn a cross and circle symbol similar to his signature. Nice. At the top of the crossed circle, he placed a 0, a 0, a 3, a 6, and a 9. So 0, 3, 6, 9. Those could be letters. The accompanying instructions stated that the 0 was to be set to at Meg 9. The letter also indicated a 32-letter cipher that the killer claimed would, in conjunction with the code, lead to the location of a bomb he had buried and set to go off in the fall. Okay, the cipher was never decoded and the alleged bomb was never located. The killer signed the note with his signature, 12 Zodiac 12, San Francisco Police Department 0. What a guy. What a guy is keeping score. I don't know why I'm picturing the Zodiac Killer doing a Fortnite dance after dropping these letters off or whatever. I am fucking 19 though, so you know, I'm not a Fortnite kid. In another letter, from July 24th, 1970, the Zodiac took credit for the Kathleen Johns abduction 4 months after the incident. In July 26, 1970, letter, the Zodiac paraphrased a song from the Mikado, adding his own lyrics about making a little list of ways he planned to torture his slaves in paradise. The letter was signed with a large, exaggerated cross circle symbol and a new score, 13-0. A final note at the bottom of the letter stated, P.S. The MT Diablo code concerns radians plus dash inches along the radians. Okay, whatever that means. In 1981, a close examination of the radians hint by the Zodiac researcher Gareth Penn led to the discovery of the radian angle. When placed over a map, pre-Zodiac's instructions pointed to the location of 2 Zodiac attacks. Interesting. On October 7th, 1970, the Chronicle received a 3x5-inch card signed by the Zodiac with the Zodiac symbol and a small cross reportedly drawn with blood. Ooh. The card's message was, formed by passing words and letters from edition of the Chronicle. The 39 holes were punched across the card. Inspectors Armstrong and Toshi agreed it was highly probable the card was from the Zodiac. Okay, so that's an unknown right there. Alright. And then the Zodiac sent a letter to Paul Avery, an agent who is investigating his case. He received a Halloween card signed with the letter Z and the Zodiac's cross circle symbol. Handwritten inside the card was the note, Peekaboo, you are doomed. Holy. The threat was taken seriously and received a front page story on the Chronicle. So after receiving this letter, Avery received an anonymous letter alerting him to similarities between the Zodiac's activities and the unsolved murder of Cherry Jo Bates, which had occurred 4 years earlier at the City College in Riverside in the greater Los Angeles area, more than 400 miles south of San Francisco. He reported his findings in the Chronicles on November 16th, 1970. So I think the Zodiac Killer has more than the 7-ish confirmed kills. I think he has more, like maybe 15. But yeah, that's interesting right there. Sending the guy who's investigating your case a letter, a threat, that's savage. So the murder the Zodiac claimed to have committed in the letter to Paul Avery, the Riverside murder, Cherry Jo Bates spent the evening at the campus library annexed until it closed at 9 p.m. Neighbors reported hearing screams. Around 10:30 p.m., Bates was found dead the next morning, a short distance from the library between 2 abandoned houses, slated to be demolished from campus renovations. The wires in her Volkswagen's distributor cap had been pulled out, so it was planned. She was brutally beaten and stabbed to death. A man's Timex watch was with a torn wristband was found nearby. There could be evidence on that, bro. The watch had stopped at 12:24, but police believe the attack to have occurred much earlier. A month later, on November 29th, 1966, nearly identical time-written letters were mailed to Riverside Police. The confession. Oh, it was titled The Confession, okay. The author claimed responsibility for the Bates murder, providing details of the crime that were not released to the public. The author warned that Bates is not the first and she will not be the last. Oh, it's not claiming to be the Zodiac, though, I don't think. In December 1966, a poem was discovered carved into the bottom side of a desktop in Riverside City College Library, titled Sick of Living, Unwilling to Die. The poem's... That's some emo shit right there, no offense. The poem's language and handwriting resembled that of the Zodiac's letters. Okay. It was signed with what assumed to be the initials RH. During the 1970 investigation, Sherwood Morrill, California's top questions documented examiner, expressed his opinion that the poem was written by the Zodiac. Oh, so maybe he's getting tired of killing and wants to put a stop to it, but won't go down without a little chase still. Interesting. Very interesting. What do you guys think? On April 30th, 1967, exactly 6 months after her murder, her father, Joseph, the Press Enterprise, and Riverside Police all received nearly identical letters in a handwritten scrawl that Press Enterprise and police copies read, "Bates had to die, there will be more," with a small scribble at the bottom that resembled the letter Z. Joseph Bates' copy read, "She had to die, there will be more," this time without the Z signature. Oof. So the one given to the father could have been a cruel joke, but there's too many similarities in all three, so you never know. On March 13th, 1971, 5 months after Avery's article linked the Zodiac to the Riverside murder, the Zodiac mailed a letter to the Los Angeles Times. In the letter, he credited the police instead of Avery for discovering his Riverside activity, but they are only finding the easy ones. There are a hell of a lot more down there. Holy... What a savage, bro. The killer's a savage, man. At least he ain't out here raping people. He's a savage, though. So, the Lake Tahoe disappearances on March 22nd, 1971, a postcard to the Chronicles addressed to Paul Avery, the detective investigating the Zodiac, was believed to be from the Zodiac, appeared to claim responsibility for the disappearance of Donna Lass on September 6, 1970. Made from the College of Advertisement and Magazine lettering. It featured a scene from an advertisement from Forest Pines condominiums and the text Syria Club, Sierra, Syria Club, saw victim 12. Peek through the pines, okay, past Lake Tahoe areas and round in snow. Zodiac's cross circle symbol was in both the place of the usual return address and the lower right section of the front face of the postcard. Okay. Interesting stuff. So Lass was a nurse at a hotel and casino. She worked until about 2 a.m. on September 6, 1970, treating her last patient at 1:40 a.m. Later the same day, both Lass's employer and her landlord received phone calls from an unknown male falsely claiming Lass had left town due to a family emergency. Lass was never found. What appeared to have been a grave site was discovered near Clay Tampan Lodge in Norden, California on Sierra Club property, but an excavation yielded only a pair of sunglasses. No evidence has been uncovered to the connection of Lass's disappearance with the Zodiac's killer, so they couldn't link it to the Zodiac definitively. But the only evidence was a letter that may have been from the Zodiac. Alright, so I think people are trying to feed off the Zodiac's legend for some of these. That's probably for sure. And then there's the Santa Barbara murders. In November 13th, 1972, Bill Baker from the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office postulated that the 1963 murders of a young couple in northern Santa Barbara County might have been the work of the Zodiac Killer. Okay, on June 4th, 1963, high school senior Robert Domingos and his fiancée, Linda Edwards, were shot dead on the beach near Lompoco. Having skipped school that day for senior ditch day, Police believed that the assailant attempted to bind the victims, but they freed themselves, attempted to flee. The killer shot them repeatedly in the back and chest with a .22 caliber weapon. The killer then placed their bodies in a small shack and then tried to unsuccessfully burn it down and get rid of the evidence that way. Interesting. But yeah. Fucking people got married early back then. High school senior and already married. I knew one kid like that. One kid. Okay, so the final known Zodiac letter. After the Pines card, the Zodiac remained silent for nearly 3 years. The Chronicle then received a letter from the Zodiac, postmarked January 29th, 1974, praising The Exorcist as the best satirical comedy that I had ever seen. Okay, and that's a quote. That's what he said in the letter. That's the quote. The letter included a snippet of verse from the Mikado and an unusual symbol at the bottom that has remained unexplained by researchers. Zodiac concluded the letter with a new source, Me 37 SFPD 0. Holy, that's a wild last letter, man. Holy shite. So, we have about 7 confirmed kills for the Zodiac, about 15 suspected-ish around there, and then he claims in his letters to have killed 37 people. That's wild. And then, that's the last letter, but there's a bunch of suspected letters or whatever, but I won't cover those. You can go check those out in the sources if you want. Search it up. I don't really care. Do what you want to do. But the current status of the investigation, as of April 2004, the San Francisco Police Department marked the case inactive. Yes, I covered that. They effectively closed the case, however, reopened their case sometime between March. Yeah, the case is open in Napa County. Yeah, I said that. On May 2018, the Vallejo Police Department announced their intention to attempt to collect the Zodiac Killer's DNA from the back of stamps he used during his correspondence. The analysis by a private laboratory was expected to check the DNA against GED match. It was hoped the Zodiac Killer may be caught in a similar fashion to the Golden State Killer. Okay. Yeah. In May 2018, the police detective said the results were expected in several weeks. However, as of March 2021, no results have been reported. So it probably came back inconclusive, or the dude that it came back from is probably dead. So, yeah. So anything further is all speculation and stuff. There are a bunch of books, a bunch of good movies, and documentaries out there on the Zodiac Killer. So I recommend going to search some of them up and watching them. I think this was the most entertaining podcast I've done so far. So, yeah, it's pretty entertaining. What do you guys think? Leave it down in the comments below. So that is the Zodiac Killer. Thank you for listening to this episode on the Murder House Radio Show. I hope you have a good rest of your Friday or whenever you're listening to this episode. Check out the social medias and the sources in the description below. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Once you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification and select all to get all notifications if you are listening on YouTube. If you're listening on a podcasting platform, hit follow. See you next episode. This is your host X, signing off.